Close your eyes and imagine your time on Earth would soon run out. At midnight on March 4th, 1982, Grady Brown was strapped to the execution table in the state of Virginia. Just as the warden gave the nod for the execution team to begin the process, the phone rang. It was the governor. He was quoted saying that the condemned man stood a chance of being innocent with new evidence that had surfaced. By then it was too late for Grady. By 12:08 a.m., he was pronounced dead. Imagine dying while all along knowing you were indeed innocent. The death penalty is a punishment the United States hands out in specific states for first-degree murder. Although it seems fit, it truly is savage. We no longer live in a society today going by Hammurabi's Code, which is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. All of us here are citizens of Pennsylvania, which does indeed carry the death penalty. Close your eyes and imagine this happening. This could happen to any one of you guys. Look to your left, and now look to your right. That person you just looked at is just as innocent as Grady Brown was. The death penalty should be abolished in the last remaining states because it's not a deterrent to crime, it is unconstitutional and inhumane, and above all, the convicted person stands a chance of being indeed innocent. Instead of carrying the death penalty, there should be a mandatory life in prison sentence for murderers. Although this would eliminate the need for the government to kill. Also, it would force a convicted criminal spend 23 hours a day in a tiny 6x6 cell thinking about what they did, practically pushing them to the brink of insanity. The death penalty can also be viewed as practically an easy way out for criminals. As of today, 36 states still carry the death penalty, PA included in that. Execution dates back to ancient times, although it has evolved from beheading to hanging to the electric chair to the lethal injection. All these processes are still inhumane. As of 2008, the electric chair was switched to lethal injection because it is considered more humane. How is killing humane at all? Currently, a lot of states have been thinking about abolishing this act. The most recent to abolish was New Mexico in 2005. States like New Jersey, New Hampshire, North and South Dakota are the latest to consider abolishing this act. Although Pennsylvania has not yet wavered, many people and organizations want to abolish this cruel act across the state and the whole United States. To start off, did you know that in states that carry the death penalty, we have twice as high murder rates? According to AmnestyUSA.org, a September New York Times study showed that in the last 20 years, homicide rates in states carrying the death penalty have gone from 48 to 101% more than states that do not. As you see in this graph behind me, the top executing states are the ones in black, and all their murder rates are higher than the non-executing states, which are in gray. This leads me to my first point. It is not a deterrent to crime. This might puzzle you guys, but there are sufficient facts backing it up. It's true for the following reasons. To start off, death by execution can be viewed as an easy way out for criminals. What I mean by this is they would not have to spend 23 hours a day in a small 6x6 cell thinking about the crime they have committed. Eventually, their conscience would take over. Also, it cheapens the value of life. What I mean by this is to be convicted of first-degree murder, the murder has to be premeditated. So when a criminal is thinking about whether they should commit a crime or not, they might think that they could be executed. In their mind, it might become worth doing because they will not have to repent for their actions. Once again, the death penalty is proved to be an easy way out for criminals. Overall, it's not a deterrent to crime, but also increases the amount of murders. Next, the death penalty is unconstitutional and inhumane. Now I have a quote for you, which is the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property. In no fine print do I see, except in the case of capital murder. Killing is wrong, but executing also takes away the rights promised by the Bill of Rights that was written by the people for the people. Now I have a quote from Bill Clinton. Open quote. How are we supposed to teach not to kill by killing? Close quote. The former president makes a very valid point. Doesn't it seem kind of hypocritical teaching not to kill by indeed killing? The Eighth Amendment states no cruel and unusual punishment. The death penalty is both cruel and unusual. To be specific, all executions today are done by lethal injection. The 3 steps of lethal injection are: first, it stops the function of the lungs; next, the brain; then finally, the fatal part, which is the heart. It has been told that you can literally hear the person gasping for breath as they died on the execution table. How is this considered humane at all? Finally, the convicted person stands a chance of being indeed innocent. Anticappunishment.org says that 39 people have been wrongly executed in the last 80 years. How is this right, executing innocent people? Although our justice system is not perfect like most people think, mistakes shouldn't cost a life. In the majority of murder cases in the United States, the defendant was poor. That means that they would need a state-appointed attorney. Princeton University did a study that in 90% of cases done by state attorneys, the person was convicted. This proves that many people who were poor could indeed have been proven innocent, although they were guilty, although they were indeed innocent. Also, with the introduction of DNA evidence, many people have been released from prison in the last 70 years. This proves that many people could have been convicted even though they were indeed innocent. Without the death penalty, no people's false convictions would result in their death. After conducting a survey of 50 people ages 14 to 50, 75% or 38 people believe the death penalty should indeed be abolished. It amazes me that 75% of you feel that way, because if my survey represents a mini scale of people in Pennsylvania, why does Pennsylvania still carry the death penalty if 75% of you feel that way? So I encourage you to contact a state representative or senator, write a letter, email, or call to prove that the death penalty should indeed be abolished in Pennsylvania. Capital punishment should be abolished because it is unconstitutional, not a deterrent to crime, and could kill an innocent person. Instead, there should be a mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole. This eliminates all that is inhumane about this act. When George W. Bush was governor of Texas, he said, "Nobody has been wrongly executed this year." In response, Judge Charles Baird said, "I hope so, but I do disagree with Mr. Bush." In this political cartoon, you see someone saying, "We made a mistake in your trial," which results in someone's death. That's either a lawyer or a judge. And this proves that one mistake can take the life of an innocent person. That's why the death penalty should be abolished. Thank you.